What's up, everybody? We got something today I want to test out for you to see if it's truly worth the budget price. We're talking the Ozark Trail Pro spinning reel. This is a 3000 size series, and I wanted to go over it today and showcase it, put it to the test, and see as a budget, like under $35, if this reel truly stands up and could be something for an entry-level salmon, trout, or steelhead fisherman to use. 3000 size series is about where you want for a salmon or steelhead reel with some decent line capacity. Now, this only has 140 yards of 10-pound test line. You can get away with in salmon and steelhead by using braid for a lot of the applications that actually is a thinner diameter, so you can get a little bit more line on the spool. We're gonna spool this up for a float fishing setup and be able to test this out, because right now there's still coho salmon and chum salmon in the rivers, and the transition to early winter steelhead, as well as some winter trout opportunities. So I'm gonna try this out. We're gonna test it together, and I'll read off the back here for you. It's got a graphite body, double anodized aluminum spool. You can adjust left or right on the retrieve handle, sealed drag system, that's always nice. And then you got die cast aluminum handle with a rubber cork knob there. So aesthetically it looks decent, but we're gonna open this up, see what happens, get this spooled up, kind of give you a rundown feel of this whole thing, and then we're gonna go put it on the water, hook a couple fish, and give you kind of an idea. But I've got a lot of requests for a budget setup for steelhead fishing, and I wanted to test this to see if that truly fits that capability. So stay tuned. So first thing right off the bat, what I will mention, as you guys can see here, the 3000 size is pretty small compared to some of the other ones. So it's not a super big reel, which part of that is also you get 10 yards at 145, or 10-pound test at 145 yards. So it's a decent reel, seems to be pretty smooth. Comfort-wise, grip. Definitely looks like a reel that will totally catch a fish, no doubt about that. But we're gonna put it to the ranks. Standard spinning reel, left-handed setup the way I like to run it. Happen to have an older rod here, so we're going to set this up on the rod so we can spool it, and I will showcase it to you guys how I spool up a rod. But overall, I mean, first impressions seem okay. It's not terrible. I would say though, it's a little bit smaller than it seems in the package, but overall, again, it balances really nice on this rod, so it's comfortable. I could see this being definitely something I would throw just right off first glance. So what we're gonna do, now that we have our rod and the reel put on there, we're gonna do a couple things. I like to, especially for float fishing, and I think this is, like I mentioned earlier, a good time of the year to do this, because a lot of multi-species potential, utilizing the most versatility of presentation wise. So with float fishing, we're going to go braided line. I have 65-pound braid here, which equivalent to roughly about 17-pound test line, but the 65-pound braid is more so for a larger diameter to float better as you mend the line, versus the need for that amount of weight of pound test. I usually put a backing of like 12 to 15-pound test line for maybe 10-15 yards, just to give something to grip a little bit better. Braid tends to potentially slip, and that's the other side wise it's going to be important to put a little piece of electrical tape on the reel itself, and that way you really help get the reel to fully seat down when you're reeling the line in, because the worst thing that can happen is you're fighting a fish, and as the tension is on the spool and the line, you're still getting line to come off the reel. We don't want that at all. Non-slip, non-anything. So I usually take, especially this skinnier electrical tape, really comes in handy because you can run one strip. Makes it really simple. Run it all the way around. And you pinch it off. And it breaks real easy. And there you have it, just like that, right? So electrical tape's on. Don't have to worry anything now. I can spool my mono. I'll showcase this, right? Line's on. And the reason why I have this actually on a rod, especially a spinning rod, so I can go through the top eye and be able to run it back down. Makes it way easier to spool the line up. Okay. Get everything all tied on. Drag comes already a little loose, but and this is a trick that'll save you too a little bit of your braid, because you don't need 200-300 yards of braid on a spinning reel. You can back fill the mono, and that will allow you to then use less to go further. This spool is 125 yards. You can totally get away with using half of a spool and be just fine. So I'm saving you some of the knots and showing too much up close just because that's not what this is about. Create a really good connection. Just like so. Now I can take the rest of this and fill the spool. Oop. Hit the anti-reverse switch. Okay. What it says is 145 yards of 10-pound test diameter. But in hand, the way that feels, decent drag sound. Let's go put this on a fish and actually put it to use. All right, everybody, so we put a field test on this reel. No steelhead, but a couple salmon. And I gotta tell you, for what it is at $30, it's not a bad reel. I'm gonna definitely put some more work into it. Gonna use it most of this season just to showcase to you guys if it'll hold up. But we landed 3 silvers. Not bad fish. Obviously, they're older, but still put up a good fight. And yeah, we'll test it out and keep it going. But a great little float reel so far, especially for some smaller stream action. So this is definitely something for a beginner so far, so good. Stay tuned. We'll set some more. If you want to see some more steelhead action, check this out right here. Fish on.